Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the coaching corner. I figured out what that issue was. So sorry about that technical difficulty, but we got it together. So if you are tuning in, you know it is Tuesday and it's 6:30, a little bit after 6:30, and we have the coaching corner every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With me, Jamila, aka the IEP Coach, where we talk about all things special education. For those of you who are new to the page, I just said who I was. I am the founder and lead consultant for the IEP Coach LLC. We are an ed consulting company, and we focus on helping principals and educational leaders increase the performance of their special education teachers so that way they can thrive and not just survive. We also support parents with understanding the special education process as well as the IEP process. And we do that by providing tailored support in special education and professional development and coaching. So that's a little bit about what we do. If you are new to our page, and if you see me turn to my left, I am on my Instagram. If you see me turn to my right, I'm going live on TikTok. And then we're also live streaming on our YouTube, our Facebook, and our YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn page. Walaikum assalam, Mukhtar. Nice of you to tune in. All right. So again, we talk about all things special education. So, I'm never really long on the lives, but I want to talk about something because this is an issue that's going on in a lot of schools, okay, with a lot of teachers. Because, I keep my ears to the classroom. Even though I'm not in the classroom no more, I keep my ears to the classroom. Oh, the Muslim ambassador, you're funny. I keep my ears, to the classroom. Teachers, you guys DM me and you let me know what's going on, what you're going through and all of that. So, word on the street is that teachers are having a hard time with their instructional assistants, with their or in other cities, you may call them paras or you may call them aides, but you guys are having a hard time working together. So I definitely had to talk about this because I used to work with, as you know, you guys, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from Philly. So we have, we call them NTAs, noontime aides, and we also call them instructional assistants. So me being an emotional support teacher, I had instructional assistants. I worked with them directly, up close, personal. They helped me and they were my right hands. I could not do my job without them. And it wasn't that and when I say I did emotional support, it was supplemental emotional support. I didn't have my kids full time. I didn't have a full-time emotional support class, but my assistants were extremely helpful to me. They were like my right hands. They were so helpful. So, of course, I did a reel today about it. And it was some quick tips, but then I also wanted to just go into those tips and then additional 2 more. So tonight I'm going to talk about 5 tips on how to work with your instructional assistants efficiently, because when you guys work together, you'll be such a powerhouse and a force that's really going to support not only you as the educator, but also support your students. Okay. And it's extremely important that you guys work together. You have to work together. Okay. So the first tip I said was you got to have respect. Teachers, educators, understand that your instructional assistant, whether you call them the instructional assistant, your aide or your para, they are not beneath you. They are adults. They are professionals in their role. They aren't beneath you. I never treated my aides as if they were beneath me, as if they didn't really matter. I never did that. And don't do that. It's disrespectful and it's rude. Okay? Don't disrespect your instructional assistants aides as if they are worthless, and definitely do not talk to them any kind of way in front of your students. That's a definite. Do not do that, because how would you feel? You know how that feels when that's done to you. I know teachers, you've had an administrator that has talked to you as if you're less than, and you know what that feels like. So don't do that to your aide. Have a mutual respect for each other. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, build rapport with your instructional assistant. Build rapport with them. Get to know them. You guys can go out to lunch. You guys can sit and chat as they're helping you set up your room or helping you do something. You can have them. You can get to know them. Just ask them, oh, what did you do this weekend? What are some things you like to do? Oh, how long have you been teaching at this school? They could be new to your school, or you could be new to their school. Get to know them. This helps you figure out not just about them, but this helps you understand like what their strengths are, because they can tell you, oh, I've been working at this school for da 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 da, or I've been working in education for how many years. I'm really good with da 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 da, and I struggle with XYZ. That can help you figure out what they're strong in and what their areas of need are. Okay? You have to delegate things to your to your assistants, to your parents, to your aides. You got to delegate them, and not delegate things to them. And I don't just mean give them things to copy. That's not what they're mainly for. That's not the main thing they're there to do. They're not just there to copy things for you. They are not just there to copy things for you. And hello, everyone coming in. They are not just there to help you copy stuff. Delegate. They can collect data for you. They can check in with your students when you can't. They can follow up to see what their homework is when you cannot. If you have one of them in your classroom, you can have them take a group. You can have them take a group, or they can work with one of your students who needs a lot of support, or they can take a group and you take a group. They can do a study session for you. Like, definitely learn what your aides and your instructional assistants, what their strengths are, because that can help you figure out what you will delegate to your aide, to your parent, to your instructional assistant. Okay? Next, give them clear instructions. Be clear. Give them simplified directions and be clear in what you're asking them. Model for them what it is you want them to do, because this helps them to further understand what the expectation is and what is being asked of them. So definitely be clear with your directions and have them say the directions back to you to make, check for understanding. Make sure they understand what you are asking them to do. All right. And that's tip 4. And then tip number 5, regularly check in with your aides and with your instructional assistants. Check in with them. Let them know, how's your day going? How are you doing with XYZ? If you gave them a task to do, ask them how they're doing with it. Ask them, how are they? Ask them if they are okay. Because they could be overwhelmed just like you get overwhelmed at work. Check in with them. Make sure they are okay. Ask them, do they need anything? Okay, it is very important that you foster and you cultivate that relationship with your instructional assistant, your para, your aide, because they can be your right hand in the classroom. They can be a huge support for you in the classroom. They can be a huge support for you. Okay. When I was still in the classroom, I told you guys I was doing emotional support. English was my content. And I was a case manager too, because I was a special education teacher. So I had 2 aides. One, her strengths was in, and shout out to Miss Clark. I love Miss Clark. She, her strengths was in social studies and reading. So she did a lot of support with, study sessions with my students in those subjects. If my students needed help, they always went to her. And shout out to Mr. Cartwright. That was my other instructional assistant. He was his strengths were science and math. So if my students had a question or needed help, they went to him. He did study sessions with the students. And it wasn't just for students who had an IEP. It was open to anyone in that class who had that particular teacher. They would do study sessions. Now, on top of all of that, building that rapport, you have to be respectful to your instructional assistant so that way they can also build the rapport, but also protect them. And when I say protect them, you know what I mean. You know how you can have other colleagues who will come and try to speak to your aides a certain way, or you may have administrators want to come at your aides. They may say that, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, etc. You, as the teacher, as the case manager, you got to look out for your assistants, your aides, your paras. You got to speak up for them. They don't get paid a lot of money, just like teachers don't get paid a lot. They don't get paid enough for what they do, just like teachers don't get paid enough for what they do. But they definitely don't get paid enough for what they do. So you have to take up for them. I'm going to give you an example. I remember one time I was speaking with my sped supervisor, and she was just like, oh, Miss Bashir, maybe you're not utilizing your aids. I said, hold up. I said, let me tell you what our day is like. I told her what my day was, what my schedule was. I told her what my what Miss Clark's day was like. I told her what Mr. Cartwright day was like, what they do, how we work as a team. And when I got done, she said, "Oh, you are utilizing." Yeah, I am. Don't for 1 second think we over here chilling. They not doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, and that was me speaking up for my aides. And every year, before we left, I always got my aides presents. I always got them gifts. Even the aides who weren't with me 100%, I showed them appreciation. I got them gift cards, and it wasn't no $25 gift cards. My aides that work with me, they got the aides who were with me all the time. I got them like $100 gift cards. And then the aides, the assistants who were with me like just throughout the year, they would get like $50 gift cards. And I got them a card to show my appreciation. And I wrote a nice message in there. I really showed them my appreciation. And in return, they looked out for me. They always looked out for me. They knew I loved posting notes. They knew I was a germaphobe. They got me posting notes. I had Lysol. So I didn't have to get anything. One of my aides, she always copied stuff. She didn't mind doing it. And she used to always say, oh my God, I talk about you all the time. I sing your praises. She said, you're in here at 7 a.m. And she said, we work from the time you come in to the time you, but we had that rapport. I built the rapport with them. I respected my instructional assistants. I respected my aides and my paras. And then when you have those paras or those aides who are specifically for a student because they may have severe needs, you can let them know what they can do too. Because yes, their responsibility is on that kid, but they can also help you in the classroom. So as they learn your routines and things like that, let them know like, hey, you mind helping or can you because they could be supporting a student who has severe behaviors or has severe medical issues. So they may not be able to help you as much as a fully released aide or para is, but they can still help you. Let them know that you're holding your students accountable. I did emotional support, so we were dealing with behaviors a lot. So my aides knew we are not doing their work. We are going to hold them accountable for what they can do. We are a support for them, but we are not doing their work. And again, I took up for my aides. So anytime I heard a student trying to get them that smoke, give them that energy, I was like, nope, they don't get paid enough. Give me that energy, give me that smoke. I got all the time. I will make the time. Give it to me. Don't give it to my aides. They don't get paid enough for that. And some students, they chill out when they dealing with you versus, with the aide or your para. Okay. So recap of the 5 tips. Be respectful of your aides, your paras, your instructional assistant. Be respectful. Speak to them with respect. They are not beneath you. Treat them with respect, just like you want to be treated with respect, and speak to them with respect as well. And do it in front of your students as well. Speak to them with respect in front of your students and let your students know that they are an addition to your classroom. This is another adult that is here to support them. Because if your students see you treating them less than, your students will treat them less than, and that is not what we want. Number 2, build rapport. This will help you see what your aides, what their strengths are, what their areas of needs are, and this can help you figure out how you're going to delegate them in your classroom. Have clear instructions. So have clear instructions and model what it is you want them to do. So be clear with what you want them to do so that way they fully understand what the expectation is. Delegate things for them to do. Don't just have them copying papers. They can do more than that. They are not just there to copy papers for you. Okay? And you want to do regular check-ins. Regularly check in with your aide, just like you check in with your work bestie and all that. Check in with your aides. Make sure that they are okay and they are doing okay. Ask them if they need anything. Okay. This is how you build that relationship. So you look out for them and they will look out for you. Okay. All right. So that's all we have for tonight. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss on the coaching corner, just DM us. You can send us an email. You can comment on the live. If there's any other topics you want us to focus on, DM us, because I will definitely respond to your DM. We always respond. We're very responsive. Okay. If you have any questions, you can click the link in our bio. It connects you to our email. It connects you to all of our platforms and everything that we have going on. So definitely take advantage. All right. And as always, be safe, everyone. Keep yourself safe. I don't know if we're going to have to mask up soon or what, but keep yourself safe. And we will see you next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night, everybody.